What's going on, family? Welcome to another episode of the Seez Monroe Show. I am your host, and today we're here to talk about Blade.
Is the enemy of my enemy my friend? Or my enemy?
The patriarch of Hominis Nocturna.
Now, for those of you who don't know, Blade was my introduction into comic book movies. I probably shouldn't have been watching it at the time, but it didn't turn out so bad, right? Now, I know the Blade with Mahershala Ali is in the middle of filming right now, so I thought it would be the perfect time to talk about Wesley Snipes' Blade. Now, in 1998, Wesley Snipes gave us the on-screen debut of the half-vampire, half-human we know as Blade, also codenamed Daywalker. But there's a fun fact. Now, in the film, Vanessa Brooks was bitten by Deacon Frost while she was pregnant with Eric Brooks, aka Blade. From this point, we ran with the origin that Blade was a Daywalker because he was half-vampire, half-human. I think we should do a count of how many times I say Blade in this video. But that's just not the case. In the comics, Blade was bitten by Morbius, the living vampire, which turned him into the Daywalker because Morbius is not your ordinary vampire. But since we all caught up with the origin story, let's get into the film. Blade was the highest rated comic book film of all time. Okay, I'm lying. But it was the highest grossing comic book film for Marvel in 1998. So what did we learn today, class? But in all seriousness, before this film was released, Marvel was on the verge of bankruptcy. Can you believe it? Marvel, the multi-billion-dollar company, they have stories for hundreds of years and they were about to go bankrupt. Nobody was in the comic books at this time, unfortunately. So what does that mean? There would have been no 2000 X-Men at 20th Century Fox or a 2002 Spider-Man over at Sony. They wouldn't have taken that leap because Marvel was failing to do films before then. It would have been a sad day. Marvel Studios should be kissing the feet of Wesley Snipes as we speak. Why he does not have an executive producer credit on anything, I have no idea. But I digress. Let me get back to the film. Blade starts off with this amazing action scene at the beginning of the film that had everybody gasping. It was just before its time. To this day, I just love watching this scene. And with a little tweaking, today's visual effects, I feel like it'll still go out today and be good. But it could be a guilty pleasure because Rotten Tomatoes got it sitting at a 57 right now, and I have no idea why. I love this film, one of my favorites of all time. But let me tell you about a few of the gripes I have. The R rating. Was it really needed for this film? I guess we had a fellatio scene at the beginning of the film, a few curse words here and there. Take those things out, we could have had a PG-13 film, bigger box office numbers, better budget for the second film, although I believe the second film was phenomenal as well. Shout out to Guillermo del Toro, did a phenomenal job. Gripe number 2 is definitely the storyline. It was very simple. And again, I guess for the times it was accepted, but we needed more. Like, the vampires chasing this one character, and I get it, the character that was being observed the whole film, it reminded Blade of his mother, and that's why he saved her, so on and so forth. So that worked, but we needed more. If only I had $1 for every time I said Blade in this video. My final gripe would have to be the antics. Like, the cringiness of the 90s antics. Like, it bothers me. Like, the motorcycles, you needed motorcycles in movies back then. There's literally a scene where Whistler is pumping gas and lighting a cigarette just to show how badass he is. This is not a gripe, but should vampires be believing in Jesus? Peace and blessings be upon him. Like, there's literally a scene at the beginning where Blade shows up and one of the vampires is like, Jesus, it's him. And I was like, Makes no sense. I know. This is what happens when I watch films. I'm sorry. All in all, I give Blade a 7 out of 10. It is a great film. I recommend it to anybody out there. If you don't like it, leave it. Let me know, because something is wrong with you. I just want y'all to know my plan is to come to C2E2 as Blade next year. Be on the lookout. That's what I'm doing. Y'all better not take my idea, because y'all don't deserve it if y'all ain't watched this movie yet. But I'm nervous. And I'm nervous for a few reasons. Like, one, Mahershala Ali was cast. And again, he's a great actor, but the age is a problem. Reason is we want these characters to play these. We want these guys to play these characters for the next 10, 15 years. And does Mahershala look like this in the next 10, 15 years? He's a vampire. You get what I'm saying? Secondly, do we make the same mistake as the first trilogy? Is he the Daywalker before meeting Morbius, or is he ever going to meet Morbius? Do we ever get that crossover event? We don't know. Thirdly, I feel like they're going to rush into this Midnight Sun storyline, and we're not going to get the Blade that we deserve. I get it. We don't want to go into origin stories anymore, but what we can start doing is getting these films to the point where we're getting, instead of 6, we get 8 or 10 Marvel films a year. It might sound like overkill, but it's about a film a month, a little less than a film a month. So if we can start doing that and start spreading these stories out, because we have so many characters out there, I think that'll work. But tell me what you guys think. Are you nervous about the new Blade film? Do you even care about it? But I have a few recommendations up here I want to show you guys before we get up out of here. Blade, the Vampire Slayer. I would check that out when you get a chance. This one is just for entertainment. I have it up here. I have a few more Blade comics, but I'm not about to look for them right now. This is Blade fighting Spider-Man as he has the symbiote suit. So it's a decent read. But all in all, I appreciate you guys. If you haven't seen the first Blade film, go watch it. And if you didn't like it after you've seen it, something's wrong with you.